Hello, everybody. My name is Stacy C. Bauer, and I'm a mom. I have a daughter named Cami who is in fifth grade this year, and I have a son named Wyatt who is in third grade this year. And I'm also a teacher. I've taught everything from kindergarten all the way up to eighth grade. I love to read, I love to write, and I'm also an author. So I've been writing books since I was about 7 years old. In fact, I still have a lot of my books from when I was young. This is one of the first books I ever wrote. It's about my sisters. So I used to just take paper and fold it and then write the words and draw pictures, which I'm sure a lot of you have also made stories like this. Has anybody made stories like this before where they've just folded paper and written down words and drawn some pictures? That's great. So I did this for years and years and years, and I decided a few years ago that I wanted to be a real published author. So the first thing I had to do was get my idea. So I thought, okay, what do I know a lot about? Well, I'm a mom, so I know a lot about my kids, Cami and Wyatt. So I decided I'm going to write a book series about my kids, Cami and Wyatt. So here on your screen, you should be seeing some of the books that I wrote when I was a child. So you can see these and these. Here are my kids a few years ago. You might notice that my daughter, Cami, actually both my kids, there's a lot of pictures of them with treats. My daughter, Cami, started sneaking treats when she was 3 years old. And some things happened because of that. So I decided this might be a good story to tell other kids. So I decided to write my first book all about my daughter sneaking treats. So I wrote my rough draft. I just typed it up on my laptop. After I had my rough draft, that's my first copy, I needed to get it fixed up. That's called editing. So I actually hired 3 editors to help me fix it up. We fixed up the punctuation and the spelling, and we put words in and we took words out, and we probably did it at least 100 times over and over and over, and I could probably still be fixing stuff today. So stories are really never done. You can just keep making them better and better and better. So once I got it the best that I wanted it to be, I started looking for an illustrator. So I hired somebody named Rebecca. This is her. She lives in Michigan. And I'm in Minnesota. So she's about 8 hours from me. She has loved art since she was young. How many of you love to do art? Painting, drawing, coloring, sculpture, any kind of art. Well, she's loved it since she was a kid. And so she went to art school in California and she got her degree in children's book illustration. And this is where she does all of her work at this desk right here. I told Rebecca, I want to use a kangaroo for my main character. I want you to think in your head, why do you think I chose a kangaroo? Maybe you came up with some ideas like they can jump really high or they have a pouch. I thought it'd be fun for my daughter to keep her treats in her pouch. And kangaroo, really, there are not a lot of books that have kangaroos. So I thought it might be kind of fun to use a kangaroo in my book series. All right, so I had to kind of make a map to show Rebecca where I wanted the pictures and the words on each page, and then I divided up my story for her. This is her rough draft. She sketched out each of the illustrations on the page and kind of put the text where it would go, and then she emailed it to me and asked me if I liked it. Then she added color, and this is another draft of the illustrations, and she asked me if I liked the color. And then she did the actual illustrations. So the first thing she does is she takes her pencil and draws an outline of the picture. And then she uses colored pencil and she colors it in. So you can see here that it's not just a flat brown kangaroo. There's lots of different colors in the kangaroo. Orange and tan and peach and white and pink. So it looks like it has texture. And then she paints a clear coating over the top so the pencil won't smear. And then she uploads it into her computer and fixes it up even more. So it takes her a couple weeks to do 1 page in the book, and it took her months and months to do the entire book. While she was doing that, I looked for a printer. So a printer is a huge factory that makes books, and I didn't know how books were made, so I got to go there and watch. So it was pretty interesting to find out how they made books. So the first thing they do is they print out your book cover on a huge sheet of paper like this. And then they print out your illustrations and your interior pages. But this does not look like a book. Then there's a machine that cuts apart the pages. There's another machine that folds the paper in half so it looks more like a book like this, but it's falling apart. So then there's a sewing machine that puts a piece of thread right here on the binding to keep it together. And then there's a machine that makes your cover, whether you want hardcover or paperback. I chose hardcover for these books. Then there's a machine that glues your hardcover onto your end papers. These are your end papers right here. You can kind of see how it's folded over and glued. And then you have your book. So there's like 7 or 8 different machines that each have a special job. It takes a few months to get the books printed. So altogether, it took me about a year to get this book made. So think about that. I worked super hard. I didn't know anything about being an author. I had to learn everything and I had to work really hard at it. 1 whole year later, this book was done. And this is my kindergarten class I was teaching at the time. So I was pretty excited to go to the printer and pick up those books. And now I'm going to read you the story, Kangaroo Has Too Many Sweets. Remember, this is a true story about my daughter when she was about 3 years old. All was calm in the kangaroo house. Mommy was putting baby Wyatt down for a nap, while Kangaroo was having quiet time in her room. At least she was supposed to be having quiet time. Instead, Cammie's brain was buzzing. She could not stop thinking about treats. Candy, cake, cookies, ice cream. Cammie loved them all. She knew a great place to find treats at her house, the freezer drawer. Who has treats in their freezer? We have some treats in our freezer too. Cammie hopped down the stairs and over to the freezer, grabbed the handle and pulled it open. After placing the ice cream into her pouch, she hopped quickly to the playroom and locked the door behind her. I wonder why she locked the door. I bet one of you can answer that question. Cammie scooped out a little of the ice cream and stuck her paws into her mouth. It was the best ice cream she had ever tasted. She lost track of time as she tried more and more of that delicious ice cream. Cammie, her mommy called. Cammie froze. The playroom door rattled and slowly opened. Mommy sighed and said, "Come here, Cammie. We need to have a little talk." Uh-oh. Cammie, it's not okay to sneak treats, Mommy Kangaroo said. You have a dentist appointment coming up. Treats have sugar and can cause cavities. Next time you want a treat, you need to ask Mommy or Daddy first. Do you understand? Cammie nodded. Uh-oh. How many of you think she's all done sneaking treats and she's never going to sneak another treat ever again? Who thinks she's going to sneak more treats? Okay, let's see what happens next. But the very next day, when Mommy took Wyatt upstairs for a nap, Cammie started thinking about treats again. She quietly made her way back to the freezer drawer, but this time it wouldn't open no matter how hard she pulled. Take a look at this picture and see if you can figure out why she can't get the freezer door to open. And then I want you to make a prediction about what you think she's going to do next. Think about if you think she's going to just give up and go back to her room and not sneak any more treats. Maybe she's going to try to just keep trying to get into that freezer. Maybe she's going to look somewhere else in her house for treats. Okay, let's see what happens next. She hopped into the pantry searching for more goodies. The top shelf, that's where more treats were hidden. After Mommy caught Cammie eating sprinkles in the playroom, she removed the lock from the playroom door and put it on the pantry door. Cammie still didn't give up. She found the cupcakes that were hidden on top of the refrigerator and licked off the frosting. Then she ate Daddy's secret stash of chocolate bars in the drawer next to his bed and hid the wrappers behind her dresser. She even found the pan of brownies Mommy hid in the microwave. Every day, Cammie found some way to sneak a treat. If you look carefully throughout the books, you might see some treats that my illustrator Rebecca put on some of the illustrations. It's kind of fun to look for those. Soon after it was time for her dentist appointment, Cammie sat in the big dentist chair. I wonder if she's going to get cavities. This is her first time ever to the dentist in her whole life. She's only 3. Show me with your fingers, or just show your teacher or your parents or whoever you're with how many cavities you think Cammie is going to get. Some kids think 10. Some kids think 5. Some kids think 0. Let's find out what happens. After the hygienist cleaned and flossed her teeth, the dentist came in to take a look. The dentist said to Mommy, "Well, I'm afraid she has 4 cavities." Cammie, do you brush and floss your teeth every day? Cammie nodded. Have you been sneaking treats again, Mommy asked. Cammie didn't say anything. Cammie, it's very important you listen to your parents about treats so you don't get any more cavities. I'm going to let you choose a new toothbrush and some floss. Do you think you can stop sneaking treats? Cammie nodded and said, "I'm sorry, Mommy." Mommy gave her a hug. The dentist let her pick out a new toothbrush and some floss. Then Cammie and Mommy Kangaroo headed home. When they got home, Cammie bounded quickly into the house to tell Daddy about the dentist. She caught him and Wyatt sitting on the couch with a big bowl of ice cream. Mommy laughed. "I think it's safe to say this whole family has had too many sweets. It's time to change our habits. Let's start with a healthy dinner. I bet you can name some foods that are healthy for your teeth and your whole body. See if you can think of a few foods that are healthy for you." I'm happy to tell you that my daughter has not had any cavities since then. We've been eating a lot healthier at home, and she's been taking pretty good care of her teeth because she's 11 now, so it's been 8 years since that happened. Okay, after I published this book, I decided to make it into a series. My series title is Cammie Kangaroo and Wyatt Too. So I had to go back to the very beginning of the writing process and get another idea. So I thought and thought and thought, what else have my kids done that other kids can relate to, that you have that in common with them? And I thought, you know what? My daughter, Cammie, has a really messy room. How many of you sometimes have a problem with a messy room or just having too much stuff? So I decided my second book is going to be called Cammie Kangaroo Has Too Much Stuff, because that can cause some problems. Think about what kind of problems you could have if you have too much stuff. See if you can think of a couple problems. So I wrote my rough draft for this book and had it edited. Here's some pictures of Rebecca working on the illustrations. Here's her coloring, some illustrations. Here's my daughter in her messy room. She just has too much stuff. Now, I'm not going to read this entire book to you, but I'll kind of go through it and tell you what it's about. So in this story, Cammie really wants to go to her cousin's birthday party, but her daddy says, well, you have to get your room cleaned first. And she's kind of like, oh, she doesn't like to clean her room. I'm using the pouch again in this story for her to keep her stuff in because she likes to collect things. Anybody like to collect things? Sticks, shells, rocks. Yep, there she goes, putting things in her pouch. So you can kind of see there's clocks on the wall here. It's 12:15 and she has not started cleaning her room. She has to leave at 1 o'clock if she's going to be on time for the party. But then she remembers another problem. She lost her cousin's stuffed puppy. So will she be able to find the puppy and get her room clean and get to the party on time? You will find out in this book, Cammie Kangaroo Has Too Much Stuff, which is available in my online store. And I will tell you how to get that at the end of this presentation. So after this book, I decided I'm going to do some paperback books just to see if I could do it, because I like to try new things and challenge myself. So I wrote Cammie, Wyatt, and Kindness Too. This is a little bit different because it's an activity book. So this has illustrations that are not colored in because we thought it'd be fun for you to color them. It also has space for you to draw and write about different ways that you can show kindness. There's also pages in the back for teachers to use in their classrooms and for parents to use at home. So I did this book, and I also had an activity book created that has mazes and connect the dots, because my kids love to do those things. So I thought other kids might like to do those things too. Then, because who doesn't love stuffed animals, I found a company to make Cammie and Wyatt. So you show them a picture of your illustration and they make little stuffed animals that look just like your characters. Pretty cute. Then I started working on my third hardcover book. So I had to go back to the beginning again and get another idea. And I thought, I'm going to use this picture as my inspiration. Maybe you can guess what my book title is. Cammie and Wyatt Have Too Much. If you thought electronics or screen time or technology, you are right. Cammie and Wyatt have too much screen time. I thought maybe some other kids and adults have a problem with too much screen time. So here's my story and Rebecca working on the illustrations. We had this book cover to begin with, but we made it a lot different because online, on Amazon and on my website, it's pretty small, and this was too dark. So we brightened it up, we changed this to red, we added some toys because that's what they're missing out on. So in the story, Wyatt's friend Landon comes over and says, Wyatt, let's go outside and play soccer and be ninjas. And Wyatt loves that, but he's so addicted to his video game that he kind of ignores his friend. Cammie misses the ice cream truck, which you know she loves treats. Wyatt's daddy asks him to go fishing, and Wyatt loves fishing, but he decides to stay on his video game. So will they ever get off of their screens and enjoy time with their family and friends? You'll find out in that book. Here's Rebecca doing some of the illustrations. So as an author, I don't just write books. My kids and I autograph books. We go to the post office. I have a party when a new book comes out called a book launch. My daughter and I have been on TV talking about our books a few times, getting the word out there, because since I publish my books myself, I also have to be the one that sells my books. So I have to be the one that goes out there and tells people about my books. So I go to different stores and see if they want to sell my books in their stores. I do author visits at schools and online, and I do book signings at local bookstores. Last August, I wrote another picture book called Cammie and Wyatt Practice Patience. And this is all about fishing. So we live on a lake here in Minnesota. And when you're fishing, you have to have a lot of patience because things don't always go your way. You might accidentally hook a tree. You might lose your bait. You might be out there all day and never catch a fish. So it's important to have patience. Here's some real pictures of me and my family fishing. And then my next book came out in November, and it introduced two new characters, Violet and Chester Koala. It's called Cammie and Wyatt Share the Christmas Spirit. And it's all about friendship and, Violet and Chester are new to the neighborhood and new to the school, and they're kind of lonely and sad because they don't have any friends yet. So Cammie and Wyatt are really going to try their best to include them and let them and help them to have a good Christmas this year. So you can find out in the book what Cammie and Wyatt do to kind of help Chester and Violet Koala enjoy Christmas and make friends and all of those important things. And because they're so cute, I had Violet and Chester Koala made as plush animals also, because I just think they're adorable. I like Violet's bow, and I love Chester's glasses. All right. So my latest book just came out a month ago, and it's called The ABCs of Friendship and Kindness. And this is a paperback book, and this is also a coloring book, and it's an alphabet book. So each page has a letter of the alphabet and an idea of things you can do to be kind. And then in the back of the book, there's some spots where you can draw your own pictures of ways to be kind. And I just really, really love talking about kindness and being nice to people and I think just doing a small act of kindness every day can really just change the world, which leads me in to my next project. Kids always ask me, what are you working on right now? Well, my next series is called Young Change Makers. Now, a change maker is somebody who takes action, who goes out there and does something to change something else. I found kids just like you who have done things to change the world, like something small, started as something small, and it's just changing people's lives in their community and in their city. So for example, Allie, she was in the emergency room and she was sick in the hospital, and her grandpa gave her a stuffed monkey to make her feel better. And she thought, you know what? I bet other kids would like a stuffed monkey to help them feel better when they're not feeling well either. So she started donating monkeys to kids who are in the hospital. And now she donates over 200 stuffed monkeys every month. This is her, and this is my illustrator. Her name's Emma. My illustrator's name is Emma, and she's working on the illustrations for this book right now. I'm super excited to see how it turns out. This is Jade, and Jade is from Minnesota, and Jade, when she was younger, didn't have a lot of books, and she didn't have books that she enjoyed reading. She had a hard time finding them. So now that she can get books, her and her mom started their own charity where they collect books and then they donate them back to kids who need them. So because everyone deserves a bedtime story. So I just think that's super inspiring. Here's an illustration of Jade with her books. So you can stay tuned on this series. I'm planning on this series coming out this spring. I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to inspire you to get out there. You're never too young to make a difference, okay? You can follow me on stacycbauer.com, or you can email me if you have questions about me, my kids, being an author, or you want to show me something you're working on, talk to your parents or your teacher about sending me an email. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram for the adults out there at Stacy C. Bauer. I wanted to show you my website really quick. So if you're wondering, well, how do I get your books? Well, it's pretty awesome, because if you go to stacycbauer.com, here's my link right here, and you click on shop. Well, first of all, I want to tell you that I have a bunch of freebies on here. That means when you click on this, you're going to come up on this page, and you're going to see for each book that I have, there are different pages that you can print out to go with that book. Just fun activities to do, mazes and crafts and all sorts of things. So if you go to the shop, that's where you can buy my books. And the neat thing about, they're all on Amazon. You can look them up on Amazon. But the neat thing about buying them from my website is you can get your name written in them, and I will sign them for you. So you just click on the book that you want, add it to your cart, and you'll get shipping information at checkout. If you order more than $25 worth of items, you get shipping for free for right now. You can get pins. I had pins made that you can put on your backpacks or your jackets, or maybe a stuffed animal. My daughter has hers. My daughter has her pin on her cami kangaroo in her bedroom. So you can order the pin on here. You can order all the books together for a discount of 20% off. And I know kids always ask about where can I get your stuffed animals. Those are on here. Those are not on Amazon. So those are on sale right now on my website, or you can get everything, all the books, the stuffed animals, and the pin. Okay, so I think I covered everything. So stacycbauer.com, click on shop, and you can see all of my books. Thank you for joining my presentation today. I hope you learned a little bit about being an author, and I hope you enjoyed the story. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and contact me. Have a great day and happy writing.